Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Andrea Kaminsky, and now I would like to introduce Daniella Molle, running for Madison School Board Seat 6. Welcome.
Thank you.
As we begin, please give an opening statement about the educational, vocational, and civic experience that you have which prepares you for this office and why you're running for Madison School Board.
Thank you. And before I answer, I would just like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to speak with the public. But I have lived in Madison for 20 years. I am a parent of 2 students who have spent their entire career in Madison schools. I also do research at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I've been there for the last 20 years. So I feel deeply invested in our community. I have, as part of my work, been a supervisor of teachers in MMSD schools. I volunteer weekly in MMSD classrooms. I have provided professional learning to teachers in MMSD, and so I feel that I have a grounding in the classroom realities of the school district. And as a researcher, recently I have worked as a partner to districts across the country in advancing equity, and I saw running for the board as an opportunity for me to bring my passion for education as well as my experience in doing research and supporting district change in service of the district here. And something that is unique to me in comparison to other members of the board is that I have expertise in language development and the teaching and learning of multilingual students. And I think that this is an asset.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you. How would you address staff recruitment and retention issues in the district?
I think that if we take them first with recruitment and then retention, I think I would love to see a pathway that starts in high school for students to see what it's like to be a teacher, experience what it might feel like to be on the other side, not a student, but a teacher. And we have had pathways in the district, for example, for nursing and IT, and I would love to explore what it would take for us to have a similar pathway for education. I also think that it would help to expand the current Grow Your Own program that we have, that allows, that gives future teachers or funding to pursue different licenses, including a license as an English as a second language. And others, so I think expanding the Grow Your Own program would be great. We do have an existing Grow Your Own program, and I would love to see some data on whether that is helping us increase the diversity of teachers, the cultural, racial diversity, linguistic diversity of the teachers that we recruit. But I think the Grow Your Own program and potentially a pathway that starts in high school might be a promising step in that direction. And in terms of retaining staff, I think we need to make sure that staff feel supported and valued. So addressing salary compression to make sure that our veteran staff stay in the district and don't feel that their years of experience are discounted would be a very important step in that direction. But also, I think providing enough professional learning support and mental health support to staff would also be important.
Thank you. Do you think the district should make any changes in its policies concerning out-of-school suspensions at the middle and high school levels?
Yes, I do think that we can do better when it comes to discipline in the district. I am very proud that the district has embraced the use of restorative practices as part of the response to behavioral challenges from students. And I think that the use of restorative practices can be expanded such that it is not only that we use restorative justice when there is conflict between students and teachers, but we use it proactively to make sure that the conflict doesn't arise to begin with. And so I think that part of addressing suspensions is understanding better why conflict or behavioral challenges arise in the first place. And that would actually involve using an approach that is closer to transformative justice, which is looking at the school and the district as a system and asking ourselves, what are the conditions that contribute to conflict or to students experiencing behavioral challenges, and then trying to prevent those and work to address those in the first place. And that may be that we need to really foster stronger connections between each student and an adult at the school. It may mean other things, but I think truly looking at the system and being proactive in addressing the kinds of conflict and behavior that lead to suspensions would be something that I think we could do better.
And how would you evaluate the district's efforts to improve literacy proficiency? Is there more you think the district needs to be doing?
In terms of communicating how its efforts to promote literacy are impacting teaching and learning, yes. Because I have been trying to find evidence, for example, about the new curriculum that got adopted about 3 years ago in our schools, and what the effect of that curriculum has been, what the impact has been on the experiences of teachers, the experiences of students, their engagement with literacy. Also, if parents have noticed anything, and it is very difficult as a community member to see what evidence we have of the impact of this new curriculum. So I think that the district is clearly committed, and I this is one of the many reasons why I'm a very proud parent of MMSD, and also really want to do what I can to make the district stronger. But I do think that we can be more transparent in our communication with the public about the impact of the decisions that we make. There was documentation about why the district ended up choosing the curriculum that it did, but I think that there is much less that we know as community members about what is happening, or what has been successful, what hasn't been successful, why are certain things difficult to implement as we originally planned, perhaps. And so I think that is something that we can really improve upon, and especially now that we are at the cusp of adopting a new math curriculum.
Okay. When faced with making difficult, controversial decisions, how will you ensure that you're getting input from residents with a broad a range of perspectives?
Yes, thank you for asking that, because I think that community engagement is another area of growth for our district, a place where we do many things well, but could definitely improve. I am grateful for the system that we currently have in Madison for the school board, where each school board member is responsible for particular focus schools. And I think that having a group of schools to focus on will make it possible for us to have deep relationships with the communities that those schools serve. It won't be possible for any one person, I think, to know 52 schools deeply, but it is possible for us to have relationships with the 7 that are the focus of for example, for Seat 6, I have 7 schools. There are 7 schools that are focus schools, and I think making sure that all of us as board members are really attuned to the needs of those schools and of the families there, and to the priorities that each school community has. The way that the focus schools are chosen is that they are dispersed in different areas of the school district, so that they're not all clustered in, let's say, one neighborhood, which I think is an advantage. This way we can have we really have the opportunity to hear from parent and staff communities of schools that serve very different student populations. And I think that having those sustaining deep relationships with those schools, and when we all do it collectively, I think the board can keep its ear to the ground much more effectively.
All right. Can you please tell us about other priorities for your term in office that we may not have addressed so far, and how you would propose to address them?
One priority that I would really like to highlight is being more transparent about what we're doing, and especially how we are learning. So being more committed to improvement. and to learning and listening. For example, we successfully passed two referenda that enable the school district to function and to improve the services that it provides. And now I think we owe it to all the taxpayers that are seeing, large increases in their property taxes to communicate what we're doing that is better. So I think there is urgency around improvement, not only because we need to be transparent to taxpayers, but also because the students in our schools cannot wait. They're there now. And I think that we can do better to serve them. I think we have what it takes. Both there is a lot of talent in the district, there is a lot of passion and commitment, and I think that we as a system can learn to just engage in continuous improvement and communicate to our to all the citizens of Madison, no matter whether they have children in the district or not, what it is that we're doing and how we're learning and how we're improving. So this type of transparency that involves, I think, listening to the needs of communities, but also really engaging in a process of collecting evidence, reflecting on the evidence, and making change based on that evidence. I think that is something that I would love to see us do better.
Okay. And what would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
I'd like to say a couple of things. One is that I mentioned at the beginning that my area of expertise is the teaching and learning of multilingual youth. And one of my main hopes, if I get elected, is to serve all students by centering the needs of multilingual students. And what I want to say is that I think focusing on the needs of a specific student group is not about carving out a niche for ourselves and saying that, sort of digging our heels in and saying that there are particular things that we want to champion. But instead, I think it is a way to see flaws in the system that may be invisible if we didn't have that particular student group as a focus. It is the same, I think, for migrant students, for students with disabilities, for students who have had experiences in the juvenile justice system. And so I think when we as a board collectively have these expertise, they help us see our district more fully, more comprehensively, to see both what it is doing well and how it can grow. And so this is why I think it is important to have board members with deep expertise in the needs of particular student groups, not so that we can say, this is who I advocate for, and that is that, and this is sort of my territory. But to say, because I advocate for these students, I can make the district better for everyone. Because meeting the needs of these kids, of this particular group of kids, helps me see things that can be improved in the system that ultimately benefit everybody. And just as a last thought, I'd like to encourage your audience to stay engaged in our schools, to continue to come and speak to the board, to contact board members, to contact us as candidates, so that we can hear what is top of mind for people. For example, I serve on an advanced learning committee, so to stay engaged in this way. I also just attended a meeting in two of the schools that are the focus schools for Seed 6 it was an information session on the new buildings that are going to be built. But so just encourage everyone to stay engaged in our schools because it is only together that we can truly work towards a better future.
Okay, well, I want to thank Daniella Molle for speaking with us and thank the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. I want to remind everyone that the election is Tuesday, yes, April 7th. Every election is important. Please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.